Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in. We're back with another edition of the On the Ball podcast. I mean, you already know. I've got my guy here, not guarding the two, he's guarding the three. Brett, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm definitely looking forward to talking some sports tonight. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a period where where it feels like there's so much going on, but then it almost feels like there isn't a lot going on because we're now down to the final days of the NFL season. But luckily, the NFL stays relevant all year, which obviously is great for people like us that do this. Um, we have the NBA that's coming up on their unofficial halfway point, and with that leading into a lot of these rumors and stuff that are going out there, which we'll talk about here shortly. But with it being Super Bowl, we're also going to talk some prop bets and all that. Where there's those, I feel like there's always the fun ones that I like to look at. So we'll kind of end the show with those. Um,
Oh,
but yeah,
fair
so
enough.
yeah, because I feel like when it comes to prop bets, it's always fun to be like, oh, which team will win by whatever. No, who cares about that? We're talking like Gatorade color, anthem length, all that stuff. So I feel like we should probably start with the trade deadline, which is Thursday. We've already gotten so much action, like already, and
Yeah.
this is like, WNBA's had like an active kind of off season. Then it's like, okay, the NBA is like picking up on that vibe and they have really gotten it going. So I feel like the one everybody needs to talk about, the Luca AD stuff, right? Trade comes out of nowhere, happens like in the middle of the night when everybody's like, no, this isn't a real thing, and everybody's like, yeah, this is absolutely real. So I guess let me just get your thoughts on that trade. I guess when you saw it come across as legitimately happening, what did you think?
Uh, so that one is kind of. At first, obviously, I thought that Champs was just straight up hacked.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely thought there's absolutely no way that you are trading a generational talent in Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course, slowly after time, reality set in. All of a sudden, it's oh wait a minute, this is real. What in the world is happening here? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Nico Harrison's just an idiot, right? When we're talking about trading a generational talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to move and like make sure that you cover all bases. You check with every team. Hey, this guy's available. You drop a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's talking to. I didn't want to, tell all the other teams because of the backlash, and I didn't want Luca to, use his powers and pick where he wanted to go. Like, dude, what are we doing here? Luka Doncic is a guy that I think the starting point for Luka is like seven firsts. You could have gotten the biggest trade haul in history, and instead, what you do is you get a move that if you don't win in the next 2 years, this really looks like the worst trade ever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real here. This is going to go down as arguably one of the worst trades that you have ever seen if they don't win a title next year or this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nico Harrison is an idiot. He should be canned. That was absolutely terrible. And the press conference, that man got asked 3 questions and he gave you the worst answers possible. Come in
Yeah.
and give a diplomatic statement. Yeah, we appreciate what Luca did for our franchise, but we wanted to go in a different direction. I wish him well in LA. You know, your whatever corporate, standard issued thing we got going on here. But instead, he starts saying just the most outlandish stuff. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand how you admit, like, yeah, I didn't talk to anybody else. Like, excuse me? Like, what do you mean you didn't talk to anybody else? Like, he genuinely gives, like, and then he's like, oh, yeah, we didn't, like, they didn't talk to anybody else. Lucas said he never said he wouldn't sign a supermax. It's absolutely insane. And the fact that you told the Mavs owner and the Mavs owner laughed at you probably should have told you everything you needed to know down by when you called Rob Pelinka and you thought they were trolling. That's insane. Again, that's just insane. And the cherry on top, and this is the part where if I'm the Mavericks, I would fire him tomorrow. This man pretty much says, I already traded Luka. That's a fireable offense right there. And you didn't maximize his value. However, the fact that he said, yeah, I don't really care about the next 10 years because I won't be around. As a GM, you're supposed to look to maximize your franchise's future now and in the future. Because guess what? You might be around in 10 years if you do a good job. We've seen GMs do a good job and stay around for 10, 15, 20 years, which I'm guessing that's just something he doesn't want to do. So, overall, just absolutely terrible move. Say, yeah, no, I got my haircut last Saturday, but yeah, no, absolutely terrible move, and it's a fireable offense. And if every single Dallas Mavericks fans refund their tickets and don't go to another Mavericks game their season or for the next couple of years, I would not blame them.
Right. I also want to give a shout out to those on TikTok because I did have a comment over here from Football Talk said Luka for an injury-prone AD is hilarious, even though AD the past couple of years has been pretty healthy. But I mean, I kind of see what Football Talk's trying to say. Like you just think Luka being 25, the player that he is, AD being 31, it definitely seems unbalanced in what was given for Luka. But like I said, I'm not gonna slander AD like that because, like I said, the past couple of years he's been pretty reliable.
And they're going to be a good team for like the next year and a half.
Yeah,
like AD's still a great talent, but he's like I said, he's 32. And that window isn't going to be open for much longer. And you can play that. Yeah, he's been healthy for the last 2 years. What is this, like year 13?
Yeah.
He's been hurt in 10 of those years.
Yeah.
So more likely than not, this doesn't last. It's a mirage. And now he has to take a bigger role in the offense, and he has to anchor the defense still. So you're asking him to take on a bigger role and not expecting him to get hurt. And not to mention, here's the other factor in this because people are excited, like, oh, Kyrie and AD. Kyle, you know this firsthand. What happens when Kyrie has to take on too much of a bigger role? How happy is he normally?
Exactly. That was been my biggest concern with all this because we saw it in Brooklyn, where Brooklyn was a little bit different circumstances, but since he's left Cleveland, it's been kind of disaster because he's been asked to do more and more and more. Boston, he was supposed to be the leader of that team. Team started having success when he wasn't around. He got like jealous and wanted out. So usually when you ask Kyrie to be like the guy and carry your team, he kind of checks out. He becomes disgruntled, and I think in a lot of cases he looks to get out of that situation because he doesn't want that burden on him.
Say that man literally just gives up when he's in that situation. And I know any Mavs enthusiast. Well, he's not going to be the number one. He's going to be the number two. Yeah, and I watched him do the same thing and mail it in a playoff series against Boston as the number two. Kevin Durant was the number one option on that team in 2022 when they won against the Celtics. Kyrie is just, I don't really want to be here anymore.
Out of that series after Tatum hit the game winner in game one.
Like, he had the one good game and then just completely checked out after. He was done. You could tell. And I think this is what happens again. People are excited now that, we're going to be good for the next year or whatever. Whatever Mav enthusiasts are left. But Kyrie's not going to be happy. He's going to have to take on a bigger burden. And he's going to check out just like we've seen again
John bringing up what Utah got out of all this. No, in my opinion, Utah won this trade deadline. Jalen Hood, PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, 2025 second round pick from the Clippers, 2025 second round pick from the Mavericks, another second round in cash considerations. Look, you throw out there that you need a third team for a trade, Danny Ainge's ears perk up because he goes, I could get some remnants from this. I'll get some draft capital. Like Jalen Hood, probably expect to see him in a trade at some point, like on Thursday. Tucker and Mamba, he'll probably flip them for more picks. Like this is where Danny Ainge loves. He just loves this kind of stuff. So I wasn't surprised that when they said a 3-team deal was going down, that Utah was that third team. Like
Yeah,
this is perfect for Danny Ainge. Eventually, he needs to do something with all this, which is kind of the same thing that was in Boston. Like he kept
I,
hoarding picks, and everybody's just like, "What are you gonna do with them?"
I think he will eventually do
Yeah,
something with them, but obviously, like now's not the time to make any moves with those picks.
yeah,
He's doing the right thing right now. Let's put it
yeah.
that way. Just keep hoarding those picks, buddy. You're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you get that franchise piece or two. And as
Yeah,
much as I like Lauri Markkinen, he isn't like that guy you build a championship team around. So I like him hoarding these picks and not really trying to go all in around Laurie. I
right.
think Laurie's a really good like second option on a
Yes,
championship team, but not somebody you're throwing all your assets down to build around.
exactly. Um, so yeah, there were more moves than that because John did bring up the Fox trade. De'Aaron Fox going from the Kings to the Spurs. Levine going from the Bulls to the Kings. So we get the reunion of DeRozan and Levine out in Sacramento, and the Spurs have basically lined up their Chris Paul contingency plan for when he leaves and retires. You would assume they'll kind of keep De'Aaron Fox in the fold. So, according to John's question, who won this trade?
Spurs.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. Because when you look at the trade, right? It was 3 firsts and 3 seconds. And
Mm-hmm.
then they sent the Bulls first to them. Let's talk about the Bulls first. It was lottery protected. The Bulls would have to be out of the lottery for them to even get that pick. So, did they really give anything up by doing that? No, they weren't getting the pick anyway. That thing was getting conveyed into like 2 seconds. So, okay, like you want your pick back, fine. We weren't getting it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get it. On paper, you know what looks really good? They got the Hornets pick. They're a lottery team. Woohoo! Their Hornets pick is lottery protected.
Yeah.
The lottery protected, if it doesn't convey this year, it's 2 seconds. So the real headline should read the Spurs trade 2 firsts and 5 seconds for De'Aaron Fox, because that's really what's gonna happen here. The Hornets would, unless the Hornets go on some like insanely game breaking run in the second half of the year, which isn't gonna happen, then that's just gonna turn into 2 seconds. So I don't think they gave up anything of value to get someone like De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it, and I think the Kings also made out well for getting multiple firsts for Levine. The Bulls
Yeah.
were just funny. They're like, we want our lottery pick back. Like, you were getting the pick anyway, but okay, here you go, I guess.
John also adds to don't be surprised to see Vucevic, White, and Ball get a new team. Also, I feel like it's been like 3 years where we've kind of said Bulls kind of just need to blow it up, and they seem to be doing it like slowly in steps. So, John, I would love to see all this happen. I kind of doubt it, but it would be the right way to go. If you're a Bulls fan, you should hope this happens.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, just collect as many assets as you can. Get rid of Vooch, Kobe. Well, yeah, I'd say you can keep Kobe White, but I also think trading him is probably just the right move because you can still get. He's a guy that you can easily get a first or two for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you should definitely move on from all three of those names. I think you should even if you can't find a trade for Lonzo, just buy him out.
Yeah. Well, actually, with us moving to this trade, I forgot to ask you about the Laker Mavs trade because basically it's talked about how the Mavs will be good for like a year or two, and then we'll see kind of the struggles from this trade. So for the Lakers, I guess Lakers fans who might be tuning in, what is the potential downfall from this trade, if there is any?
The potential downfall of this trade is Anthony Davis turns into prime Hakeem Olajuwon, Kyrie turns into Steph Curry, and they win like 5 rings together. I don't think there really is a downfall to this trade. Like, we can go, well, Luca's conditioning might be out of whack, and he might get fat or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
Mavs are trying to push. But the reality is this: you had a chance to trade for a 25-year-old generational offensive talent who, when it's all said and done, is going to be, if he's not already, a top 15 or top 10 offensive player to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And all you had to do was give up Anthony Davis, who's 32, and a first.
Yeah.
I think this year it's going to be a little rough. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that any teams are willing to trade with the Lakers. I think they're going to kind of have to run with what they have now. The only, maybe an addition from free agency or the buyout market.
Mm-hmm.
I think next year's the real year. You see the Lakers take off. If I'm a Lakers fan, remain optimistic but cautious about this year. You're not going to put the pieces you need to compete around Luka and LeBron this year. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This offseason, though, go out, get some defensive pieces to surround those two with, get a defensive minded center to put in the middle that can also rim run, and then the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. If you're a Lakers fan, don't say the sky is falling if they struggle this year. They probably will. But next year is your year. That's the year where I fully expect to see what LeBron and AD can be together.
Yeah. Um, John brings up Lakers had some defense. Luca doesn't play defense. Luca and AD make about the same points. Both teams didn't move the needle, according to John.
Luka is such a better offensive player than AD, and it's not even close. The points really don't tell the whole story. Luka is such better at getting his teammates involved. He can create for himself much better than Anthony Davis. Pretty much every single facet of offense you can imagine outside of, ironically, like shooting free throws and, like, I would say, like, finishing lobs around the rim. Like, maybe finishing and free throws are what I'm going to give Anthony Davis for.
Mm-hmm.
And by finishing, I mean dunks, because
Yeah.
Luke is actually an elite finisher in his own right. And I think he actually finishes at a higher percentage around the rim than Anthony Davis, which is kind of weird. Like I said, you're getting that generational talent. You just have to be patient. And for the Dallas Mavericks, good luck, because not only did you don't have Luka, you don't have your 2027 first. No, sorry. You don't have your 2028 first. You don't have your 2030 first. And I don't think they have their 29 first either. So this is a situation where they have to nail these next two drafts,
Mm-hmm.
build perfectly around AD and Kyrie, because then guess who has your pick in 28? The Thunder.
Yeah.
Guess what? I think the Rockets have their 29 pick and the Spurs have their 2030 pick.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, they nuked their future just for a 2-year title window in which I promise you they're not going to come anywhere close to.
Let's see. Jory, it's because I just saw some cohesion with my team and this happens, my heart. And look, I think for Lakers fans, losing Max Christie as well, because I've heard, some Lakers fans somehow Max Christie was kind of coming into his own and everything like that, and he's being moved out as well. I do think, as John brought up, defense, that will be interesting to see, because we know with AD there, he covered up for a lot of the perimeter issues where, guys got into the lane. AD was there to change shots. Now, as a opposing player, once you get by Luka, LeBron, Reeves, one of these guys, you got Jackson Hayes standing in your way. A little different than AD, but hey, Jackson Hayes is a guy who's supposed to leap out of the gym, very athletic. Like this, maybe he shows something here. that Laker fans can because look, I think Palinka came out and says like the center market's a little dried up, which I don't know. Maybe if this deal had more time to kind of cook, maybe the Lakers could have possibly gotten away where Kessler was somehow involved in this three-team deal. Which, if you're going to deal with Danny Ainge, you have to give up a lot to get Walker Kessler. So they probably would have had to give up more than they probably were comfortable. Because Connect would probably have to go somewhere in that. And if I'm Danny Ainge, Ainge probably would ask for Reeves or Rui too. So
Yeah,
I don't know if the Lakers would want to get that go that far, extending themselves out, giving away all that just to bring in Luca and Kessler. But that would have been a great ad. A big man who, because they definitely need the help.
yeah, and about like the report that they didn't want to pay him or whatever because he's going to be eligible. Oh, I didn't even see that. Mike comment put that down there. Luca's the talent you give the supermax to. Luca is that good offensively, and you can build the defense around. Like the Mavericks last year, they made the playoffs because you managed to still be. I think they were like close to a top 10 defense with Luca.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's this impossible feat to build the defense around Luca. So unless if he like killed 27 people and we don't know about it, you give that man the supermax because guess what? Even if you give him the supermax and you regret it a year later because you don't think 4 years down the road it ages well, you can still get a haul of like 8 draft picks and a lot of young talent for Luca, and nobody would bat an eye in paying it. He's just that good.
Yeah, it's like this is something. If Cuban was still kind of the majority owner and all that kind of stuff, he never does this. Like you could tell from Mark Cuban, he was viewing Luca as his next Dirk. Like he was gonna keep him, pay him as much as he wanted to, continue to try to move the pieces around him to get that title out of him. And look, they got close. They made the finals last year. Then turn around halfway through the next season and move him because he drinks too much and he wastes. Like they made it seem like Luca turned into Oliver Miller.
Yeah, I heard all the reports. I'm like, did he turn into like Cleveland Sean Kemp overnight, and I just have no clue about it?
Right.
Like what?
I don't
Like
know.
it. We know Cuban wouldn't do it because the man said he would divorce his own wife before trading Luca, and he probably meant that too.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, this just showed how important Mark Cuban was because obviously he sold his majority stakes in the team this past summer. He was running, the head of baseball operations. Like Nico Harris has been there for a while, but Cuban was the guy that always had that last say. And he was, he had to go through Cuban and really filter out the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I'm gonna make a WWE comparison right here. Nico Harrison reminds me of Vince Russo once he left Vince McMahon. When Vince Russo was with Vince McMahon, he made great booking decisions through WWE, but that's because Vince was there to filter out all of his bad ideas and make sure the good ones saw the screen.
Yeah.
Nico Harrison and Mark Cuban, and I think, Mark Cuban, granted, is a much better human being than Vince McMahon, so I'm not throwing that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But in a working, dynamic, it almost feels like it's a similar situation where maybe Nico's just been terrible this entire time. But with Mark Cuban there, he wasn't letting these bad decisions go and making the choices.
It does kind of make you wonder if Nico had this kind of power before. Like, what else would he have probably done before this deal? Like, I mean, look, Luca might have gotten lucky. Like, he might have traded Luca to Toronto for Siakam or something, like something crazy like that. I don't know, but
this was so unheard of. This would have been like the Bucks after the bubble trading 26 Giannis for 30-year-old Paul George.
mm-hmm.
You want it in NFL terms? That'd be like if we got the Woj bomb or Shams bomb tomorrow. That the Bengals are trading Joe Burrow for Matthew Stafford in a first. Like, huh?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense at the end of the day. And Jason Kidd did not want to be. He wanted to be anywhere but that room.
Exactly. I guess we can touch on some rumors that are out there because there are some interesting ones. Like for instance, there are some talks about Kevin Durant making another trip through the Warriors uh, locker room for, I guess, another chance to play with Steph Curry. What would you think about that? How likely do you think it happens? Like, what do you feel about that?
It'd be kind of fun to watch those two kind of, grow old together in Golden State and finish out their careers together. I'd be down for it. He had his most success in Golden State, and
Mhm.
if there's two places I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Durant go to close out his career, one place would be Golden State, and the other would
Okay.
be OKC. I'd love him to go both of those places. Anywhere else, it doesn't really move me.
Mhm.
I've seen now rumors that the Mavericks apparently are interested in Kevin Durant to make a Kyrie, KD, and Anthony Davis victory. Which at that point they just don't have a
Nico's got
bench.
that
So
bug now. He's got that bug. It's itching. Nico's out here playing 2K. Everybody's just waiting around. If Nico pulls that off, I don't know, man.
that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And then everybody's upset because he traded Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin in a pick.
Which, look, every time I see Quentin Grimes bouncing around somewhere, it's the guy the Knicks refused to give up for Donovan Mitchell. That's all I gotta say. That's all you have to say.
That would be stupid and make the Warriors desperate. But they are desperate. How long do they have to compete before Steph Curry retires?
Yeah.
They can go out and say the right things. Oh yeah, we're not looking to make a big splash, but they're desperate. You know it. You know they want to try to win another one for Steph.
Yeah.
And you know he's already showing signs of decline. And you know that they want to put another piece around him. Let's be real. Nobody's moved by their smoke screen. They're desperate and they're going to make a big splash. Or they want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's going on, Amir? Let's go, Lucers. Okay. Hey, it fits. It fits.
Yeah. Hey, fair enough.
Yeah. I guess another name to watch, Jimmy Butler, who apparently has blocked several destinations because he's just set on
Phoenix or bust.
Yeah. So I guess the simple question, is he in Phoenix after this trade deadline?
No. No. Because you're going to find a team to take Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
That's what's blocking this trade. I would say absolutely, but Bradley Beal's no trade clause is going to absolutely screw this whole thing up for him.
Yeah.
Because, what are you going to do? You got to find a team willing to salary dump for him because the Heat don't want him. And then all of a sudden, okay, now you got a team. Now, but the harder part is you got to find a team with salary cap that will take him, that Bradley Beal wants to go to. And if you think that you're going to be like, yo, Brad, you want to go to Charlotte? Be like, no. What the fuck? Are you crazy? Bradley Beal's going to nuke this trade. It's not going to happen unless there's some surprise team. I don't think they'll do it. I'll throw it out there unless, the Orlando Magic sneak in there hey, we think Brad Beal could help us.
Yeah.
I don't think this happens in the slightest.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I don't understand Butler necessarily because he went from requesting the trade to then saying, I love Miami and, the real story will come out after the fact. Now Pat Riley has sent him home 2 different times and you have opportunities to get out of Miami, but you're blocking them because you only want to be in Phoenix. And like you said, Phoenix has their own issues because they have Booker, who probably would get you the most, but Phoenix doesn't want to move him. You have KD, who you could move, but he's also a little older, so the return might be whatever. And you have Beal, who Phoenix wants to move, but nobody's going to take that on because he looks like diminished goods at this point. And they don't really have any much else that you could trade to really get anything on a Butler level or anything like that. So I guess it's a game of chicken between the Heat and the Suns at this point. Because like I said, The Suns need their own Danny Ainge who is willing to jump in just to take on some crap, so you get the actual trade you want to go through.
Say,
And I don't know
Damien.
who else would do that.
Damien, I actually have the answer to that. It's they tried to trade for Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler said he'd refuse to sign an extension, so the trade talks
Yes,
died down.
that's the major.
So that's why they're not trading for Jimmy Butler. It's not because they didn't want to; it's because Jimmy said no. And Lonzo Ball just doesn't move the needle for the Warriors. They'd have to pay. Yeah, you're better off waiting to buy him out.
Yeah,
he's getting paid like $20 million. You'd have to match that salary. I would wait for a bigger fish.
right. Daniel Barry, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Feel like it's been a little while. Sean, what's up? Thank you for coming back. Let's see. John says send Butler to the Blazers. Oh, yeah. Pat Riley would love to do that. Because either way, Pat Riley will be there the day after. But let's see. I think those are like the major ones. Well, I mean, we got, like you said, Nico did swing Caleb Martin for Quentin Grimes, so he's made another deal that didn't exactly anger anybody. So I guess he's one.
I don't hate the Grimes and Martin deal as much as everybody else does. I don't understand necessarily the need to send the pick. That part threw me off, but switching Grimes and Martin kind of makes sense. You can go, well, Grimes is averaging more. He's putting up better numbers. And the answer is yes, he is. Mm-hmm. But he's also a free agent this year, and Martin's locked up for the next 3. So I don't think Grimes is like such a massively better player that, you're going to regret losing him. And you might as well take the guy who's, cost controlled for the next 3 years versus Grimes, who knows what he's going to get on the open market. You might lose him for nothing. So,
yeah. We did talk about this a little earlier. Gardy did bring this up about the Mavs being interested in KD, and I said, look, Nico's made that one deal. He is just itching to make another one.
The one rumor I wanted to address too, I swear I'm going to crash out if the Bucks do trade for Kyle Kuzma. Let me put it this way. You want to know what impact Kyle Kuzma's making? The Wizards are 10 points worse with him on the floor. He is making the worst offensive team. And by the way, this isn't just a bad offense.
It's terrible.
It is trending towards being the worst offense of all time. Mm-hmm. And he's making arguably the worst offense of all time 10 points worse just by him being on the court. Do not make that move. John Horst, I am begging you. That would just be absolutely awful. Hey, Kyle, you got to wear the goggles, man. Everybody's asking for them.
I mean,
part of the character.
What's going on, Trajan? What's up? I mean, they are like right here. I try to do one show without wearing my glasses, and everybody's coming down on me about it. Look, there we go. See, I do it for the people. There we go, for the people. Don't say I never did anything for y'all. I heard the Knicks were interested in. I mean, the Knicks are interested in everybody. If the Knicks got KD, Stephen A. might throw a party on first take the next day.
Oh,
He just wants anybody that's big ending up in New York. That's all he cares about. He's already throwing out like LeBron in New York. I
don't want to see it. Them go to KD, go to New York just because it would be annoying. It's like when Superman takes off his glasses and turns into Clark Kent.
Oh, all right, guys. All right. I did it for y'all. One night. That's all I was looking for. All right. John said here that Bruce Brown is on the move. I did see something about Bruce Brown might get bought out. But if he did, Denver might be interested in a Bruce Brown reunion. Which, look, the Nuggets, and also because the Nuggets came out and said Porter Jr. isn't on the move. But they do need to kind of rebuild some of that depth that they've lost over the last couple of seasons. I don't really know how much Bruce Brown's really been doing in Toronto. I feel like the times I've seen him against the Celtics, not really doing much. But if he gets back into, Denver situation he's used to, he knows all those guys that are there. You'd probably see a better version of him with Denver, so that would be a great get for him. But I guess we'd have to wait and see if they do that. All right, Davian.
Oh, my brother, testify!
We got comedians in the chat tonight. All right. At this point, the rumors I've heard the Bucks are involved in, I don't want anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually completely agree with that. Every rumor we're in, the last two I've seen, it's like, oh, we're gonna get Bradley Beal. Oh, hey, we're gonna get, Kyle Kuzma. Like, I'd rather extend our entire team. And let's be clear, I love Chris Middleton, but I also completely get if he's moved. But we can't just move him for anybody. And that's kind of the point. Like if we would have moved him and somehow got Zach LaVine, I would have been fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I get he's not worth some massive name anymore. But we can't just move him for someone like Kuzma or Beal. That does nothing for us. In fact, that just slams our title window shut.
Yep. So I guess John's saying wouldn't be shocked if Middleton was traded for some picks. I mean, it definitely seems like that's kind of the starting point for a lot of these conversations is that I guess the Bucks are over Middleton and I guess waiting for him to regain what he was before the injuries and everything like that. That seems like the motivation for a lot of this stuff. They want to get younger, which I don't blame them for that. I've said that about the Bucks, that they are an older team where your only youth is really Giannis and whoever Doc decides to, unlock from the bench that night and give them any minutes. But other than that, his top rotation are all older guys. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see if they pull the trigger on anything.
What is it? That's it. You couldn't try to trade Nurkic for Middleton? I will box John Horst in the Pfizer Forum parking lot if he tries to do that.
So Trey just said Beal no, Durant no, Kuz no. I don't want any of it. Trade Brook for a young big man. Trade Chris for youth and picks. I want the Bucks to get some young talent and some assets. Here's where you're talking about Nurkic for Middleton, and then Damian. The Bucks trade Giannis. He's gonna okay. Well, I feel like you're safe from that one.
Yeah, Nico Harrison is on our GM, so we're safe.
Right. Let's see. Are there any other rumors out there? I don't think so. Nothing too big yet.
See, Cam Johnson, I would accept Cam Johnson. Young, 3-and-D wing, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Although it does seem like Cam Johnson probably will get moved somewhere during this week.
Trade Doc for the half-built statue of Doncic from Luka. If the Bucks would have just listened to me and signed Kenny Atkinson.
There you go. Kenny Atkinson's doing. Look, he's a good coach.
That literally
what happened with him in Brooklyn was not fair to him at all.
Seeing how successful he is right now is making me so mad because literally when I was asked when this whole thing happened, who would I'd have, my first name that came to mind, I kept screaming it from the rooftop. Yeah, bring Kenny Atkinson to Milwaukee, and they don't. And now he's going to win Coach of the Year, and I'm like, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess we will jump over to some NFL because, normally we go NFL into NBA, but NBA has been so crazy right now that we had to start with it. So appreciate all of you with the trade rumors and everything like that. We do have a game that's happening Sunday that signals the end of the NFL season, and it's kind of a big deal. It's got the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. You've seen a lot of media people already down there. If you are into sports radio, usually your favorite shows down there on Media Row. So you're seeing Jameis Winston in his bag as a reporter asking only questions Jameis Winston can get away with, but that's all part of the Super Bowl experience. So I guess looking at this matchup, we're obviously Eagles, Chiefs. Oh, hold on. Damien does have one last question. Thoughts on Terry Rozier, and do you think Adam Silver is going to do anything with these players making bets?
I think they're going to make an example out of Terry Rozier. They're going to like suspend him indefinitely.
Yeah.
Like with the way he was playing, and like I thought he was already making bets, betting his own under. Like he's been terrible. But in all reality, the league ain't going to let that fly.
Hmm.
That's one of the things they care the most about. So I feel like he's going to get a major suspension.
I agree. And hey, if you want to send a message, that's how you do it. You got to let these players know that doing that, getting caught up in these little speculation and all that kind of stuff does nothing but hurt the brand. And because of that, playing in the NBA is a privilege, not a right. If you take it away from enough players, they'll kind of fall in line with it. So yeah, I agree. Rozier, look, you typing that in, Damien, may be the last time you get to. We may never see Terry Rozier again in the NBA. But we'll see whenever they hand that down. Um, yeah. So Super Bowl, Eagles, Chiefs. I guess it's a simple question that obviously would be asked. Who do you have winning it? Do you want to throw out there an MVP and a score?
Oh, this is who do I have winning it? Oh, that's see. What's tough is I really want to say Philly, right? But
Mm-hmm.
anytime you bet against Patrick Mahomes, it's just the stupidest thing you could possibly do. You know what though? I think I'm gonna go with I'm gonna bet on Kansas City. I think I'm gonna go Kansas City finishes the three-peat. Patrick Mahomes. They'll give the MVP. They'll give him the MVP, of course.
Okay.
And yeah, or everybody will be saying that they should give the refs the MVP, even though they came out with that stupid statement today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I say it's stupid is they should have just never addressed it in the first place. Just let people talk at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I'm gonna go 30-27 Chiefs.
Okay. So it sounds like you're expecting a somewhat classic, back and forth type of thing, with the Chiefs just pulling it out in the end. As Trey just says, the real champion Subway, as they have an Oreo sandwich foot long. Which, just thinking about that, kind of interesting, I guess. Uh, I think for me, I think I'm gonna go crazy. I think I'm gonna take the Eagles because I do think. And look, I agree with you because it's kind of the same thing where you got to with Brady, where you were like, never bet against Brady because he always make you look foolish. And Mahomes is obviously getting to that point. And look, I picked Buffalo to beat them last week. Was 2 weeks ago, dead wrong. So I guess I'm going to jump into that pool once again and go with the Eagles to beat the Chiefs. And uh, I think MVP wise, I'll go Saquon Barkley. And I feel like it's going to be like a 27-24 type of deal for the Eagles to win it. And I guess now with getting that out of the way, the prediction and everything. Oh, hold on. We got somebody else joining in. Jory,
Hey, Jory!
what's going on?
I
We'll
just
be
had
up
to
in
pop in.
backstage for a while. I've been caught up in the Clark Kent stuff, the Devon Dudley. I might have missed you back there for a little bit. Um, which I'm pretty sure you probably want to talk Luca and AD, so we can go back to that. But I just want to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl. Like, who do you have winning it? MVP and a score prediction.
I'm tired of the Chiefs,
Okay.
in all honesty.
That's a sentiment that's pretty popular.
Yeah, and I really like how the Eagles look. The defense really came along, especially that last game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick the Eagles,
Okay.
and I feel like of the Chiefs a lot more than what you usually would be able to because they're gonna try to sell out and stop Saquon.
True.
So if I really wanted to go wonky, it's going to be one of those two receivers being the MVP.
Okay.
I say that. No, that's fair. I think like the Eagles feel like they should win. They have the better team, but I'm just tired of betting against Patrick Mahomes and looking stupid. So I'm just playing it safe at this point.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's definitely a safe way to go about it. But look, I feel like every year you kind of see a theme with these sports champions. And look, Nick Sirianni could literally be Ryan Day. Ryan Day, everybody questioned him, wanted him fired. He gets Ohio State to the playoff. They win it all. Nick Sirianni has had his own battles with Eagles fans over the course of the past couple of years. And even this year, it seemed like if they didn't get to this point, people wanted Sirianni out. Maybe we get the best version of Sirianni on Sunday, and we see an Eagles team that looks focused. Because, like you said, if you look at it on paper, you would take the Eagles roster over the Chiefs roster. The biggest thing the Chiefs have going for them, Andy Reid, Spagnuolo, Mahomes. Those three together are very tough to beat because we know Spagnuolo's going to have a great defensive game plan, and we know how Andy Reid is with the offense, and Mahomes is just Mahomes. But at some point, somebody's going to have to do it. I think this Eagles team, if they play right, they can do it. So, like I said, I'm with you there, Jory. I think the Eagles get it done as well. But would I be crazy to think like Monday, sitting here going, well, Chiefs just won 3 in a row? No, I don't think it's that crazy.
Because I feel like at the same time, while you're even with Sirianni being improved, who knows which Nick Sirianni you're going to get in the Super Bowl? Who knows?
He might be a madman on the sideline.
Exactly. And the last thing you need is a madman versus somebody who can take advantage of said madman.
That's true. Trade is mentioned in the playoff. Kelsey, True, and Chris Jones. Yes, that's up in the playoffs. Like the Eagles are going to have to play a flawless type of game. They're probably going to have to play their best game of the season. But we know they're capable of it. It's just whether or not they go out there and execute. So we will see. But yes, so I guess to go back, since you are on here, Jory, and you are the Lakers fan on the panel here, Luka for AD, what did you think?
But apparently I woke up at 2:30 in the morning for whatever reason. I grabbed my phone and then I see trade. I'm like, huh?
Nico doesn't sleep.
Then I see AD is a Maverick. I'm like, what the? And then I see we got Luka. I'm like, whoa. So between 2:30 and 2:33, I had about 10 different emotions. And to be completely honest, I'm still not so sure how I feel about it. I was attached to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was supposed to retire a Laker. Davis, for the past few seasons, even while he was hurt, I went to bat. So the fact that I was emotional about it at 3:00 in the morning, I'm like, why? Even yesterday, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the? Is this real? You know how many times I pinched myself? Just.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trade that's going to be talked about for years.
And then once Nico, whatever his name is, started talking, I'm like, you an idiot, bruh. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't care about the next 10 years because I probably won't be around. So do you want to get fired today or tomorrow? Which one? Because that's exactly what that spoke to me.
Hey.
They want to sit here and say Luka was 270 pounds. First of all, he's 6'8". He's going to be around 230 to 250. And if he has a calf injury and he can't work out like he usually does, Harris is a damn liar. He is not 270. Look at them pictures and tell me that's 270. What?
Yeah.
And then I heard that Rob was feeding him all that stuff. So Rob was talking that good lying, manipulated. Oh, he's not worth that because remember, you had to take a beer from him. And he probably was laying it on thick like some butter. And he could not.
Yeah, because
exactly, Trajan. Exactly. He's not 270.
Yeah, but it's like
maybe if you drink him in some water.
It's just like we saw the one video with Luka drinking a beer. Michael Finley takes it away. All of a sudden, he's an alcoholic. All of a sudden, he's Oliver Miller walking around it like overweight. It's just like Nico, like we can see Luka. Like he's not in hiding. We know what he looks
like. You let Rob Pelinka get one. Rob thought you were trolling.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I think you're trolling and then I realize you're serious, I'm gonna get over on you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play you like a flute.
Yeah. That was just weird. That was the part that got me. It's like, oh yeah, he talked him down from connecting multiple first. Like, how did that conversation go? Like, hey,
he's not worth all of that. Remember, you had to take a beer out of his hand.
Right? Yeah.
Remember,
like
he's looking a little fluffy. He's not worth all of that.
The Flink could just go, yeah, I'm not paying that fat alcoholic that much. You're like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Just a first Christian AD. Like, all right, yeah, I'll take the drunk for that. Like,
sure.
How do you convince him of this? This doesn't make any sense. Nico Harrison, you better be ready to work from home, buddy, because you are not going to be welcomed in Dallas. Let me put it this way. You are the most hated man in Dallas in a city that has Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You are more hated than Jerry Jones.
Exactly, Damian. He confused Luka with Zion. Luka ain't got no beer belly. He's just a little fluffy at times, you know. But when has I seen Luka jump and his beard and his belly jump like 3 or 4 times after it? Never.
Yeah.
2 different situations.
That's Jordan, you'll probably appreciate Zion did have something to say about this trade.
He needs to shut the hell up.
Well, just to fill in those of you watching, Zion came out and said when he saw Luka got traded, he was like, well, nobody's safe. Like Zion.
This is the same person that said, well, I think I can play back-to-back games. I played for the Pelicans. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Lakers probably hung up the phone on the first attempt. Yeah.
My favorite on Twitter was there's that same sentiment, but CJ McCollum went, man, nobody's safe. And the entire comment section was, nah, dog, you're safe. Ain't nobody trading for you. Like, damn. You got to roast CJ like that, buddy.
I know. That's terrible. Yeah. I think the funniest part.
Talking about nobody's safe. Your hamstrings ain't safe. Ain't nobody dinner plate safe around you.
But I also think it's funny that Danny Ainge said he just submitted like Utah's part of the deal and never knew what was in the deal.
Because he wouldn't have did it if he knew the Lakers were gonna get Luka. He would not have did that. We know Danny Ainge wouldn't have did that.
I wonder if he talked to Nico first and was like, yeah, we're willing to throw in this. Like, let us know when the deal is ready to be done and we'll hammer it out. And then he just woke up and was like, oh, we made the deal? Like, nobody told me about this.
I feel like, I feel like they didn't tell him anything. And then all of a sudden he got, like, the finalized trade details from the NBA. He's like, wait a minute, what the? Hold on, Luka was available?
Yeah.
And now, like you said earlier, people probably aren't going to trade with the Lakers because
it's going to be seen as he fleeced an organization, and this is what they do.
Yeah, there's that Lakers.
If you're stupid enough to do it, why I got to be the villain for you being stupid?
Yeah, but this is what happened when Ainge worked the Brooklyn Nets deal. A lot of people didn't want to deal with the Celtics after that. because they're like, if he's going to do that to that team, we don't want to be the next team he does it to. So these owners all, they'll become sensitive. Danny says, is this
Yes.
trade dumber than the Ben Simmons and James Harden trade?
This makes Ben Simmons and James Harden look like the greatest, most fair swap of all time. Like,
Yep.
yes. This is much stupider. This is going to go down as one of the worst trades in history.
Yeah.
The only ones that really rival it off the top of my head that are going to go down maybe worse than this, depending how it plays out, like PG to the Clippers,
Mhm.
Kareem from Milwaukee to the Lakers, and just other all-time bad ones. This is, I don't have like the exact top of my head like what order it'd be in, but this is probably going to go down as a top 5, maybe even top 3 worst trade in NBA history.
Trade says he hopes Luka gets pissed, gets in shape, healthy, runs the West, even though I don't want him to drag Bron to the finals.
He has LeBron with him now. If it's gonna happen,
They're saying in 2026, when Bron's contract's off the books, that's a max slot that you have to pay the guy or pay whoever you want to put around Luka.
Mhm.
There's a real potential to build this team around Luka in the next few years. That's what I'm saying. Like Lakers fans, it might be a little rough this half of the year, but you got to be patient because the future starting next year is insanely bright. But it might be a rough this first half of the year. Just got to
I
be a little
don't
patient.
trust Rob Pelinka.
I don't know. Pulling this off, you might need to build him a statue in front of Staples.
After this, yeah.
But because I think for Jory thinking here, what if Bron walks into the office tomorrow and goes, I want to
an
play 2 more
extension.
years? Would they not just sign him to a 2-year extension?
Because I'm already hearing that LeBron James is mulling an extension after the trade with Luka Doncic. No, go mull on the couch. You are 40 freaking years old. Enjoy the rest of your golden age years with your wife and your kids. Watch Bronny grow up. Get off my TV screen, bruh.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it's something where the Lakers can look at it and say, and JJ probably as well, this will become Luka's team after LeBron, and you just hope that they can build around Luka. Because I feel like a couple of years ago it was Luka and Trae Young. I feel like there was a conversation either like on a network or something like that. They were like, who's harder to build around? Because those two have kind of been linked since they were traded for on draft day. And with Luka, it's like he's ball dominant. He is a great scorer, and he does play make as well. But he has his defensive deficiencies, so you kind of have to put players around him that can cover for him defensively, and you can hide him a little bit. But he also needs offensive players that don't get in his way. So in some ways, they're kind of similar to build around, except for Luka's obviously a different offensive player than LeBron is.
I want to kind of like build on something you said. I don't think you wait until LeBron leaves to make this Luka's team. This is Luka's team
yes,
right
absolutely.
now.
Yeah.
If you're going to put the ball in somebody's hands, it's Luka's. Luka's just a better player at this point. We're comparing a top like 5 player in the league at worst, and I would argue that Luka's in top 3 to Bron, who I think he's in the top 10, but he's closer to 10 than he is to 5. So, and the other factor to this, LeBron's an infinitely better off-ball player than Luka Doncic. He's a much better cutter. He's a much better shooter off the catch and shoot. I'm not saying we stick him in the corner every time, but at the end of the day, like if anybody thinks it's a still Bron's team, no, it's Luka's, and you have to play it as such. So you give that ball to Luka, and you have Bron work around Luka, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And look, I think if you technically look at the past couple of years, you could make the argument that AD was maybe a better.
He was more important.
Yes, but the problem is AD doesn't mind taking a back seat, and at times that hurts him because there'd be times where you'd be like, AD, just get in the post, put that hand up, and take over, and he doesn't really do it.
And he shied away
Luka,
from
you don't have to worry about Luka. You give Luka the ball, get out of his way, he'll make it happen. So it's probably easier to transition to Luka than it was to AD as being the guy.
And Damian, the answer is the Lakers won this trade, and it isn't even close. The order of teams that won this trade are the Lakers, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Spurs, the Jazz, and then the Mavericks. Once again, Thunder have their 2028 pick. Spurs have their 2030 pick. The Rockets have their 2029 pick. They locked
And guess
themselves
what?
into
They got the Lakers 2029 first round pick. So I don't have one until 2030.
And that's fair. Like you can, and the thing is, the Mavs can try to sell themselves on that. But if you have Luka, okay, you can have the 20th overall pick in the draft or 25th, whatever it's going to be. Oh no, we're not going to get a late first round pick. What will we ever do?
I'm not crying over no third grader.
Right? Ain't trying to trade some ninth grader doing his algebra homework right now.
Exactly. Absolutely not.
At least Nico traded Luka for AD and not Westbrook.
Hey, Westbrook's been doing good this year. I give
He's
credit.
doing fine. He got Jokic behind him.
Where he fits, yes.
And Jokic but actually believes in him. He wants to play with him. So
yeah. Shout out to Westbrook. Let's see. So I did have funny Super Bowl prop bets. Well, not really funny, but kind of like the odd ones out there. Because I know that Brett's got to get ready for Meaty Boys. So last few minutes, kind of look at some of these and get your thoughts on them, and then we'll be out of here. Let's see.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Let me say something.
Go ahead.
Because I wanted to come on here and say this. Because about the Myles Garrett thing, I don't know if we touched this.
We did not. So go ahead.
A certain fan base is crying. Trade all of our 11 picks to go get Myles Garrett. You bunches of featherbrains, you purple pterodactyls. I don't think Jimmy Haslam is that airheaded to trade Myles Garrett within a division. He might be dumb enough to give Weirdo that contract and dumb enough to offload Baker, but he ain't dumb enough to trade somebody to a division rival.
Yes.
Mind you, the pterodactyls got other problems to work to solve. What are you gonna do? What? Look at who's gonna be a free agent this year. Do you want Ben Cleveland? Do you want Ronnie Staley? Do you want half of the secondary who y'all tout is just this good when they don't do jack squat but get burnt like some toast in the oven for 25 minutes? What?
Yeah, and even if it's not, I guess, impossible that they trade him to the Featherbrains, but the real issue you touched on, let's say theoretically the asking price would be a first and 2 seconds or 2 firsts and a third. For the Ravens, it would be 4 firsts and a third or 3 firsts and a third. There's gonna be some massive in division tax.
Mm-hmm.
That at that point, it's just not worth it. Just build around your own talent. Myles Garrett's good, but they're not going to trade him in division. And if they do, you're going to have to just beyond overpay past a point where it's not even worth it. So,
Besides, they got Matabike. They're fine.
Also, I love the fact that you were like a certain fan base. Jory, people have seen you on here enough to know that when you say that, who you're talking about.
Yeah, because they getting on my nerve. Oh, trade the farm. Da-da-da-da-da. I said, all right.
What's more interesting, Garrett wanting to be traded or the Rams wanting to trade Cooper Kupp?
Garrett.
Yes.
Garrett.
Garrett's just more impactful than Cooper Kupp at this point. So, And I agree, Tragan. I would love for us to trade and get some pass rushers. I know we've invested like 4 first into the D line, but the problem is they're just not developing the way they thought we would. I would just love to get somebody proven, like Garrett or Khalil Mack or someone like that.
Yeah.
If Cooper don't play his cards right, he'll end up in Nashville.
Like Cooper Cup's gonna have some suitors for sure. Like the places that will be looking at a guy like Cooper Cup, you have like a young wide receiver group, need that veteran to kind of show them how to be a pro. Cooper Cup, or go ahead.
I was gonna say, give me Cooper Cup to the Bengals. He'll be cheaper than T. Higgins, and give him that wide receiver too, alongside Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad one. Let's see. Okay, so like I said, I did pull up some prop bets for you. So one I see is, I guess, yay or nay, Drake appears at the halftime show.
Drake.
Mm-hmm. As you know, Kendrick Lamar is
cleared. Kendrick has gotten clearance to play Not Like Us.
Yeah, I don't think he appears at the halftime show, but if he did, that'd be hilarious. Singing Not Like Us with Drake on stage would be diabolical.
You're going to have the whole
Drake doesn't
stadium.
have to know the song set. He could just bring him out there and then be like, hey, hit my music. And then that's the song that plays, and Drake's just sitting there like, oh, we doing this? Okay, we doing this today.
Mm-hmm.
Rams grabbed Higgins, put him alongside Nakua. Okay. Let's see. I mean, they have other like halftime show. Kendrick's first song, "Humble." What do you think?
It might be Mad City.
Okay.
I think Humble's a good one because I think he'll end with Not Like Us and not. Part of me like thinks he might start with it because I See Dead People would be a great intro to his,
That would be, yes.
So I think it might be Not Like Us. That's either going to be the first or last song. I'm going to guess the last song.
Okay. Because they do have for the last song All the Stars because we didn't know SZA is going to be there.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. Then the last one, total number of songs over under 10.5.
They got enough time for that?
I'm gonna go under. That seems like a lot of songs.
They might. I mean, it kind of depends on how Kendrick wants to lay it out. He could do like a little bit of this, a little of that song, and kind of move it through like that, or stick with a few of them a little longer, and then So I probably would guess under 10.5 as well. Like it does seem like 10.5 is a lot. Let's see.
His first song
going to be the diss track, then every song is going to pop a lyric from that before going into another song.
He probably would. Kendrick is cerebral enough to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the usual one, Gatorade that gets dunked on the winning coach.
Orange.
Obviously. Okay, because the choices are purple, yellow, lime, or green, orange, blue, red/pink, water/clear.
I'm gonna go yellow.
I'll go red.
You said red.
Mm-hmm. Huh?
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying because I did pick the Eagles to win. But that could be, Eagles throwing the Chiefs face. We're throwing red on Sirianni. I don't know.
What if they accidentally hit him with the bucket? That'd be hilarious.
They might have to investigate.
I'm letting my intrusive thoughts.
They might have to investigate that player and see how much they actually like Sirianni. See, Damien's thinking. I like it. On Andy while he's grabbing some cheeseburgers. Okay. Train says red. Davis says green and so Davis is hedging his bets on two of them. Okay, I got you, Davian. Let's see. What was another one?
This is fun.
Because you'll be surprised some of these like.
Is there a bet on if Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift?
There is one, yes.
I'd put $50 on it.
So you think it does
if they
happen?
win?
Okay.
No, you know what?
Did you see how she acted at the Grammys? I'm like, yeah, you've been hanging around Travis a little too much.
I'm gonna. I think the funniest thing could be he proposes if they lose, stealing the entire spotlight from the Eagles out of pure pettiness.
That's something that Kelce would do.
That's something Travis would do. So I don't think it happens, but I think it would be the funniest thing ever if the Eagles won. Then he just did that to steal all the headlines.
Let's see.
And then you have mad Eagles fans cussing out Taylor Swift.
Brett, do you have to go or you got a couple more minutes?
I got a couple more minutes.
Okay. National anthem. Over under 120 and a half seconds. So 2 minutes.
Over. They always just extra.
Okay. And the national anthem would be done by John Baptiste. If you don't know, he's the was it the show with Stephen Colbert? He's the musician on the band for that show, that late night show.
And they couldn't get somebody more notable? Don't nobody watch.
I mean, he's notable because he's like a musical genius. He just happens to be on that show. That's where a lot of people see him on a daily basis. But he does do music. But he's he's one of those if he's never heard a song, you play it a couple seconds, he'll be all into it and yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which team will score first?
The Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, give me the Eagles. Eagles jump on the board first.
Okay. Which coach will be shown first during the national anthem?
Reed.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that too. I did. Let's see. Okay, so we said who will score first. Will the first score be a touchdown or a field goal?
I think the first series, they're both going to go 3 and out.
Okay.
The Eagles go back down the field the second time. Sirianni does something to mess up a drive, and they kick a field goal. Okay. Please don't mention that, Damien.
Actually, no. Let's have Fergie sing the national anthem. That was hilarious.
I've never seen Steph Curry lose his composure like that.
Yeah, that one was. Yeah, that was an experience that probably will never be.
They turned that into a remix.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's go for one more. Okay, so here's one you can actually bet on. The jersey number of the first player to score a touchdown, odd or even?
I'm going to go odd.
Okay.
Up right now. Hold on.
Because I feel like when you're doing that, you got to think of who could you see scoring the first touchdown.
Yeah, and then I got to think about the jersey number. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so Trajan says 87. He would go odd.
Well, because that's kind of what I thought too, and I was like, okay, Travis Kelce's an odd number, AJ Brown's an odd number, but what makes it tough is I think Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith are an even number.
Yep.
So it really depends if you think it's going to be a passing or a rushing touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Or if you look at the quarterbacks, maybe scrambling in for a touchdown.
Jalen Hurts, he wears 2. That would be even.
I think
Patrick
Jalen
Mahomes.
Hurts won.
1. Oh yeah, he wore 2 in Alabama. I don't know
Yeah.
where I'm getting that. What the hell? I'm
Yeah, both
sorry.
quarterbacks are odd because
1.
Mahomes is 15.
Yeah, I feel like the odds favor the odd numbers because
Yeah.
if you get to the 1, you got the tush push. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say odd. I just
That's
had
actually a
that.
good point. Because like Xavier Worthy wears 1, he's odd. I'm trying to think who even wears an even one really like that. Yeah. So I guess odd is kind of the safe bet there. Which commercial appears first, Doritos or M&Ms? Because you know both of them will be there.
M&M's.
yeah, M&M's.
Okay. I think Doritos is like planning some crazy thing. So yeah. I'm sure you said Chris Jones from 1 yard out, number 95. This might be the crazy one I see. Will the price of Bitcoin go up or down during the Super Bowl? If you're monitoring that, then more power to you.
My guess is if you are betting on that, call the number.
Yeah,
Call the number. You need help.
Yeah. Doritos, the commercials just aren't as good anymore. I bet the past couple of years people have been kind of down on the commercials. Let's hope for a
The
bit of
last commercial I can really remember is a few years ago. It was a Mountain Dew freaking commercial. It was that puppy monkey baby thing.
yeah. Yeah.
I just remember the Tubi one just because of how confused it had everybody.
That is true. That was a good one. Yeah. It's kind of crazy that it's already been a year and we're back to the Super Bowl already.
Yeah.
A little crazy. Yeah, I feel like go ahead and get out of here. Like that's all we had for you. Appreciate Jory coming on. And look, Jory, any Tuesday you feel like you want to jump on with us, you're more than free to. Brett and I would love to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I will.
Okay. Brett, I guess let them know where they can find you here in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. You can check us out on the Wire to Wire Podcast Network. We're talking wrestling in about 5 minutes on the Meaty Boys Podcast.
Yeah. Royal Rumble just happened. Some interesting things happened over the course of that. I caught it after the fact. And yeah, that place was definitely jumping. Surprise men's winner, especially knowing who the last 2 were. Had some returns as well. Like, okay, wrestling's look, it's doing its thing. I mean, Damien, yes, we know. It was just one of the bets. I threw it out there.
I found me a wrestler that I can get into, and I usually don't get into wrestling.
Who's that?
I forgot her name just that quick, but she rolled down my Twitter. It was Lady something. She's really pretty.
Lady, I'm drawing a blank.
She's a lower tier wrestler. She's not WWE yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, if you want to get back into WWE, this is a good time. But I feel like any level of wrestling, sure. Like there's plenty of them out there.
The second I see McAfee, I turn the screen. I'm like, look.
McAfee's,
he's annoying. The fact that I know he do a show with that smug quarterback makes me just bye.
That's true. But he's not like that on WWE. WWE, he's just like you would think he's probably drunk off his behind the whole time, just cheering for wrestlers and doing dances when their music comes up. Like that's how he spends his like 2 hours. So, yeah, I mean, Jory, you want to let the people know where they can find you?
You can find me here, of course. You can find me over on Jory Sports Stories. I should have an episode coming out soon. It's been long. It's been a long week. But I probably will go into my top 10 Super Bowl commercials because now y'all done got my brain thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's been a couple of them. Mm-hmm. Bring back the stupid ones. Stop being so serious.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yes.
I'm trying to laugh.
Hmm. Yes. Hey, maybe we get some of that this season on Sunday. Look, for me, you can find me here, Terry Sports Network. You can find me on Chomping at the Bit. I too should have a video out there probably tomorrow. And next time you'll catch me on here will be
Thursday?
today's Tuesday, so Thursday will be Silent and Sideline, which I believe is like a special episode for the Super Bowl. So I think it's a little bit longer. So make sure to check me out then. And then Friday, you'll see Jory and I back on here for Passion and Precision. So that's where you can catch me. So appreciate all of you that are in the chat. Appreciate those of you who are over on TikTok. What's going on, G Report? What's up? Said the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl 34-24.
I didn't even get my score prediction. 30-31. Eagles. 30-32.
Okay. That's right up there that would be an instant classic if it does come down like that. So yeah, appreciate all of you that were over on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. I know you guys added your channels as well. So appreciate all of you who tuned in. Make sure you come back next week for another edition of the On the Ball podcast. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the game Sunday. We will talk about it all on Tuesday, and we'll be after the trade deadline as well. So we know more is going to happen in the NBA. So we'll talk about that next week as well. And whatever else happens, I don't know. We'll see. So hopefully you guys come back.